Today on the program, we're talking about security across the country. Insecurity is on the rise in the nation's capital, especially in the suburbs. And our feature story takes us to one of such suburbs. We also had to sit down with a retired senior police officer who walks us through the challenges with security in the nation's capital and shares insights into what can be done to improve security across the country. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. President Muhammadu Buhari is back in the country, while the Vice President presided over the 41st Virtual Federal Executive Council meeting. He also participated in several meetings virtually. This week also marks the 7th year of the abduction of the Chibok girls. It's time for a wrap of major events that took place in the nation's capital within the week.
President Muhammadu Buhari is back in the country after he completed a medical checkup in the United Kingdom. Upon arrival at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, President Buhari spoke on the appointment of Mr. Usman Al-Kalibaba as the Acting Inspector General of Police.
We went through the system. There was a committee by the Minister of Police Affairs, and they gave me some names, and he happens to be the one chosen. And he knows his job. He has been in it for a long time. He went through all the training. He has the necessary experience. So we expect, we have high expectations from him.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, virtually inaugurated the Ogun State Digital Economy Empowerment Project, where he says internet access and broadband penetration will become existential in the nearest future and will determine Nigeria's competitiveness in the global economy. The Vice President also participated in another virtual meeting where he delivered remarks on the Equity for Africa event organized by the Liberty University in Virginia, USA. He used the occasion to ask global leaders to end the unfair burdens on developing countries. Meanwhile, Professor Osinbajo joined Muslim faithfuls to observe the holy month of Ramadan. Speaking to State House correspondents, he observed that Ramadan is a time for higher virtues of love, kindness, and generosity.
I must express my very sincere greetings to our brothers and sisters, Muslim brothers and sisters, who have begun the Ramadan fast already, and to say that this is not just a time for abstinence from food and drink and other worldly pleasures, but also a time for us to rededicate ourselves to higher virtues of kindness, love, generosity towards each other as brothers and sisters, regardless of faith or ethnicity. And also for our nation, a time, I believe, to recommit ourselves to unity, to brotherhood, to peace and reconciliation in various ways.
Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo received a mission from officials of the Africa Development Bank on the industrial zone. The bank's team was led by its acting Vice President, Agriculture, Human and Social Development, Mrs. Toda Atuko. The federal government has debunked claims by Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State that Nigeria recently printed about 60 billion naira to make up for state allocations. Speaking to State House correspondents after the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, says the governor's statement is not factual. However, the governor is insisting on his position.
The issue that has been raised by the Edo State governor for me is very, very sad because it is not a fact. What we distribute at fact is revenue that is generated, and the fact distribution revenue is a public information. We publish it. So it's revenue generated by the FRS, the customs, the NNPC that we distribute at fact. So it is not true to say we printed money to distribute at fact. It is not true.
In the meantime, Governor Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto State is insisting that governors are in support of financial autonomy for state judiciary and legislature. Judiciary workers have been on strike over the non-adherence to the principle by states, despite the contents of the Executive Order 10 signed by the President, as well as a court order.
From the very beginning, during the 8th Assembly under the leadership of Bukola Saraki and Speaker Dogara, the Governors Forum under Abdulaziz Yari then met with them and supported the financial autonomy for the state legislature and the state judiciary. And that was why, with that support, we were able to achieve the passage of these amendments by the National Assembly and the state legislature across the country. So the governors are unequivocally in support of the autonomy of these institutions.
This week, members of the Bring Back Our Girls advocacy group marked the 7th anniversary of the abduction of some schoolgirls from Chibok in Borno State. The group wants closure on the return of the girls from captivity and disclosure of the reports of committees set up to investigate the kidnapping.
Following the persistence of the movement, the President Buhari administration announced that it was setting up an investigation committee, which we did not understand. We had asked for a release of the Sabo report. The government refused to do that. Why then did it feel compelled to set up another investigation exercise? We waited to see whether the new investigation exercise was going to be disclosed, and in its disclosure, provide information on what was missing from the Sabo report, or what in the Sabo report necessitated additional investigation. It is sad to say, ladies and gentlemen, that whether this committee was ever constituted or whether it worked or whether it submitted any report whatsoever is unknown to our movement and the citizens of Nigeria.
Meanwhile, the federal government says the Chibok girls, Leah Sharibu, and others in captivity of Boko Haram insurgents are not forgotten by the government. In a statement to mark the 7th anniversary of the abduction of the Chibok schoolgirls, the Minister of Information and Culture, Mr. Lai Mohammed, explains that government is doing its best to tackle the issue of security in the country. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Mr. Usman Al-Kalibaba, has ordered the immediate disbandment of the IG monitoring unit in Lagos and Port Harcourt. He gave the order during a meeting with senior police officers.
To our post-reorganization plan, as well as our commitment to return to the basic policing, I have directed the immediate reform of the IGP monitoring unit, which is one of the major complaints I have received as soon as coming into office. This involved the disbandment of the satellite offices of the unit in Lagos and Port Harcourt, the streamlining of the personnel profile of the unit at the force headquarters to a number not more than 50, the banning of the unit from undertaking any criminal investigation, including taking over cases from commands. Under the current dispensation, the unit will only operate within their original mandate, which is to investigate complaints of professional infractions that may be alleged against any serving member and as may be referred to them by the Office of the Inspector General of Police.
Welcome back. Let's talk about insecurity. A state of being open to danger or threat, a lack of protection. Every Nigerian feels some level of insecurity right now, no matter how high up the economic ladder you are. No one is insulated from insecurity. And the more we ignore this problem, the closer it gets to us. The nation's capital is set up in such a way that the bulk of its residents live in the suburbs. And unfortunately, poor infrastructure and a lack of security presence has turned some suburbs into criminal hideouts. This week, I visited Tungamaje, one of such suburbs, crying out for help. I met a brave lawyer who somehow fought 5 gunmen trying to kidnap him in his house. Please watch this. Tungamaje, a suburb in the nation's capital, is an hour's drive from the city center. The town has seen a recent spike in criminal activities as many FCT residents trooped to the town to build houses. because land in this area goes between 3 and 8 million naira. As with most suburbs in the nation's capital, bad roads and poor security presence are a reality for the residents. We take the bad winding road to the home of barrister David Aigbofor. He, like most of the residents here, was drawn to the area by the cheap cost of land and moved here in 2020 with his wife and one-year-old son. On Tuesday, the 6th of April 2021, at about 1 a.m., while he and his family slept, he was attacked by 5 gunmen wielding AK-47 rifles. He tells me how he fought them off with a machete.
This another one, this. And there's also one here. Yes, there's one here. Try open it. Then I help you to open it. And then
you cut his hand.
A cut.
You cut his hand?
Yeah, from the neck first.
Oh, wow.
Then the second cut back. Then he fell to this place.
You know, it took about like 10 minutes. I didn't hear anything, so I was scared, thinking that maybe they must have taken him away. So I had to tiptoe to call him, and he answered. So he now came out, and that was how some minutes later, the security men came in.
This is my wife and my son. My daughter, though adopted.
After such an attack, I try to find out if he still feels safe living here with his family.
It's just about few individuals that are causing this mayhem in the whole community. One of those individuals are taken out. This place could actually be one of the best places to stay.
David Aigbofor called 2 numbers the night he was attacked: the police and the neighborhood vigilante. The vigilante showed up.
They hold AK-47 and I just hold double barrels. When I had their own firing, so I stand somewhere here. So when I throw the fire, then I now follow at the back of this bush. So I stand here. Anyone that I saw coming out from the gate, I'll bring in them. So I know that they already stay out.
So far, 17 people suspected of carrying out criminal activities in Tunga Maje have been arrested from their hideouts in these rocks around the area. But this is not the first time raids have been carried out here, and still, the crime rate continues to rise.
Not be smarting with the first year. Even our councillor in Tunga Maje here, they took his son, and up to now we haven't found the son. After that one, he gave one man. That's the same honorable, and me here. They kidnapped his son also, but that one we have find when they carry the money go, they return the son back. Police in Zuba. Sometimes when we call them, they will say they are vehicle for not there inside. Not only vigilante for Tunga Maje here, they are facing challenge. Not only police where they Tunga Maje, this OC Tunga Maje is the one helping us here. If you call her last night, anytime when you call her, you can be able to come outside within me. We are not safe unless we need someone like police and army to be helping us. Because vigilante, what they are doing, that's the vigilante people are trying also. But they are gun that they used to carry, not only one rank. You understand? When these kidnapping come around, they will come with AK-40, is it 27 or be 47, something like that. So we are not safe. We need help. We need government to help us.
It is the dream of every Nigerian to own a home of their own. And for many people who live in the nation's capital, because of the high cost of living in the city center, they make their way to suburbs like Tunga Maje to find that little piece of earth that they can call their home. These hopes are being dashed every day with insecurity, kidnappings and banditry and constant robberies in suburbs like Tunga Maje. The call is for the FCT security agencies to increase security presence in these suburbs so these people who are just looking for a home can live in peace. My guest on the program is Mr. Wilson Inalegu, the former Commissioner of Police for the nation's capital at the height of insecurity. He also served as the former AIG for Zone 9. This man was in charge of policing 4 of the 5 states in southeastern Nigeria. According to him, some of the failure in securing the country comes from a lack of proper policing plan at the state level and an endemic lack of faith in Nigeria's security personnel by the Nigerian people. Mr. Inalegu, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here today.
You know, you used to be Commissioner of Police in Abuja.
That's true.
And I remember, in fact, I'm going to call you out on this one because last week we were in Tungamaji between Gwagwalada and Zuba. And we were there because, you know, the rate of crime in Tungamaji has increased exponentially. What would you say is responsible for the high rate of crime in suburbs like Tungamaji, Kubwa, you know, Lugbe, all those places? What's wrong? Why is there very little police presence, and why is the response time really slow?
In the suburbs, yes, you have crime, but the response, I think some of the residents in those areas may not be familiar with the police helplines. I know we used to circulate them, and I think CP Bala Chiroma, who was my the Deputy Commissioner in charge of operations when I was CP, I think the standard of operation has not changed really much. But usually when a high-profile individual is attacked by hoodlums, he receives a big publicity and it creates that general impression. I'm not saying that there are no crimes in the suburbs. And it does happen like that. It's unfortunate. But I don't know if they contacted Zuba police station, because I think Zuba is closer. Because we also, on the interchange, before you get to the Zuba interchange, I think there is a police post there. I mean,
we spoke to some of the residents about the Zuba police station in that, and one of the residents actually told us that when you call the Zuba police station, they always tell that there's no fuel in the car.
Yeah, what my advice would be that you call the control room. If you call them, and then you make it a point. Don't just stop by grumbling or complaining. Contact the Commissioner of Police, because the standard should be between 3 minutes and 5 minutes. You are supposed to get help. But it happens in some instances where some officers have their attitude or something, because it shouldn't happen. But I think that should be an isolated case, because the response for FCT is more robust than many other parts of the country. The community has a role to play. In those suburbs, I think what they used to do in Lugbe, in Zuba, they have this community awareness programs. That is, they come together and meet and discuss issues of security. The solution is, number one, all of them should have the control room numbers, because if you call them, you can get even 3, 4, 5 patrol teams converging at that place. Because the police try to optimize both human and material resources to achieve security for the citizens.
So in addition to having the number of the police station within your locality, have the control room number
that locality is not enough.
So you need the control room number as well.
You need a control room number. That's a hotline that, if usually on your news bar, it is circulated. If you call, you are going to get help. But with that police post, they will come, but the number
will not be as much.
Yes, and then they could be responding to another critical incident. But if you call the central control room, you are going to have a convergence. You are going to have from Zuba. You may even have from Kubwa. You can have from Gwagwalada that interchange. It is night time. It will less than 10 minutes. We expect them, to be there. But more importantly, and I don't want to miss that point, it's about the communities coming together, sensitizing themselves, observing people in their neighborhood. By the time you have communities come together, and then you invite the officers will go to sensitize them, Tell them what to look for. Who are these individuals? They're just in the community. Nobody knows them. Are they carrying out surveillance? Are they looking out for prominent people within that community? And then information is given well ahead of anything. You say, and then check that man who is selling cannabis in the community. By the time you pass certain locations, you perceive the order, because that's a place for them to gather.
Basically, vigilance on the part of everyone.
Yeah, vigilance. Yeah. Thank you.
I want to move us to the southeast right now, because that's where the latest security concerns are coming from. You know, the southeastern part of the country. You were AIG in 4 of the 5 southeastern states. Is this cause for worry? These stories we're hearing from the southeastern part of the country. Is this something that the country should be worried about? Are we playing with something that can get worse?
Anything of insecurity must be taken seriously. And you don't allow it to assume a life of its own. When you have the situation that we have in the Southeast, the issue of agitation for Biafra,
attacking police stations,
the issue of
correctional centers,
attacking police checkpoints, police stations, correctionals, and then it climaxed with the attack on the Owerri Correctional Center and the Imo State Police Command Headquarters. That's unacceptable.
What can be done so it doesn't escalate? Because there's so many meetings going on right now, trying to understand what's going on.
The community, the influencers, they have a lot of role to play, because
when you say influencers, you're talking traditional rulers?
Yes, religious leaders. Traditional rulers, religious leaders, political office holders, opinion leaders. They are influencers. They need to be involved. That, wait a minute, what's going on? When you attack the sovereignty of the country, the police force represents that. The military represents that, the sovereignty of the country. And when you begin to challenge that, you are saying that you don't recognize government. And these people you are killing, is it possible they are looking for arms, for a wider violence? So what you need to do, you've got to get the security agencies together. If you are the governor of that state or the southeastern region, you've got to ask what is going on. The security agencies, they need to develop a policing plan.
Okay.
Or like security plan. The immediate, the medium, and the long term. The policing priorities now in the Southeast, in my opinion, is restoring serenity within that environment. Getting these guys who have attacked, getting them apprehended and prosecuting them. So there must be interagency cooperation and collaboration among the security agencies to begin to look at who are these people.
Thank you so much, Mr. Inalebu, for being with us on Dateline.
Support the police, support our security agencies. Security is everybody's business. Sharpen your power of observation. What you see, don't hold it to yourself.
Share.
Share. Share relevantly. Share privately, because your neighbor could be the problem. So when you share, don't discuss with anybody.
All right, sir. Thank you so much again.
You're welcome.
We sincerely hope the FCT administration looks into the plight of the residents of Tungamaje and comes to their help. For those who live in Tungamaje watching this program, our prayers go out to you. Please stay safe. It's hard to keep hope alive while staring down the barrel of a gun, but we must. The only way these security forces can keep us safe is if we cooperate with them. Be watchful. Save these control room numbers on your phone and report suspicious activity the moment you notice them. That's our show today. Remember to let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing on your screen. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.